Welcome to this episode of Athletic Training Chat. On this episode, we have Heath Blackmon, and we cover a full range of topics, very much focused on just the transition from setting to setting and what things have been consistent across those and what things haven't, what he's learned, and what might work out best for you. Both Heath and I have had a very similar kind of trajectory in our careers of what we thought we were going to be doing, but what we ended up doing and how family and different things played a role in that. We also discuss a lot about service and why Heath got into it, why I got into it, and why we think it's so important to make change within the profession and really have an impact that you're hoping to have. So, really great episode there. As always, thank you to Mueller Sports Medicine for powering this podcast. We truly appreciate their support as they really have done a great job helping us with the podcast and also just what they do for the profession. And before we get into the episode, a brief word about Clinically Pressed and some free resources that you might find helpful for your program and where you work.
Check out the Clinically Pressed Company shop for free resources on performance, nutrition, recovery, and sample training blocks. These resources can be great for athletic trainers who just haven't had the time to put them together for themselves. All are free, no payment information required. Check them out at clinicallypressed.org/shop. Clinically Pressed Company, making the complicated simple through results that give back.
Welcome to this episode of Athletic Training Chat. We are on with Heath Blackmon, who we connected up via most of the ways we do it this social media, and are here just to talk about all kinds of different things. Really kind of focus on all the different settings, and we were just talking off camera about some of the transitions we both had in our careers from traditional settings to different ones, and how even we both think maybe college was the totally right choice for us, but here we are anyway. Probably wouldn't have met otherwise. But before we get into that, just wanted to turn it over to you, Heath, to give a little background on yourself, and then we'll get into the conversation.
Yeah, like Joel said, I'm Heath Blackmon. I've been a certified athletic trainer for who I'm old, 15 years now. So yeah, I've had a lot of experiences from started off my as a grad assistant. I was at West Georgia, worked 2 years there, and then I moved on to my first big boy job, I call it, in Gadsden, Alabama, where I had two high schools and a local community college. And after that, I actually stepped into the industrial occupational setting with Delta Airlines as a contractor athletic trainer there. So I kind of got my toes wet in where I'm at now. Then I've kind of bounced back into the secondary school setting for a couple years. Did a majority of that. Bounced back over. I did clinic work for about 6 months. Found it wasn't for me, uh, and then then I went into being an athletic trainer, ATC DME rep, where I worked as a DME brace orthotic fitter for a local hospital, and then bounced back over into the secondary setting. And then now I work as an occupational athletic trainer for Therapy South at Work with Alabama Power Mobile Construction, and I even have a Calhoun Power Plant that I service to all the Alabama Power employees and make sure that they are getting taken care of on a occupational, non-occupational injuries, or just general, just like, hey man, what's a good health and wellness thing to talk about? These guys they're very smart in their field, but they don't know as much on our side of stuff. So that's what we're there to
Sure.
kind of provide that service to them to make sure that they are able to just kind of take Alabama Power's whole goal is to be like, we want you guys to leave in as good a shape, if not better, than when you came in, because their job is very strenuous and very it takes a lot off of them. So and I enjoyed it ever since. It's a very great position, very fulfilling, and I love it.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I kind of always remind myself to the point you said. I haven't done occupational, but I've been in the clinic, sports med clinic setting, and what's second nature to us, and like all the things we know, and even in athletics that maybe a little more known by some of the patients we work with, to the general population, they may have no clue even where to start. So sometimes they just come to you for advice, like as
Hmm.
simple as it may seem to us. Like it's just they want that advice, and that can be a pretty powerful part of these different roles, and just steering them in maybe we'll just say better quote direction than some other
Yeah,
things you can find in the world. So
we're better than Google,
yeah,
and
at least have some
WebMD.
more nuance than Google. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, with the experience across so many different settings, and we were also mentioning this kind of stuff we see on social media, people looking for specific settings in traditional, and thoughts on if that's always the best place to go. But, you know, what things have you picked up across all your different work in terms of some of the similarities or some of the major differences um, that you've seen just from all the experiences you've had?
So yeah, I have learned that the traditional settings are not for the older guy. They're for these younger kids. It's a lot of hours. I just a lot of you got to put a lot into it. It takes a lot of work, and I've put in my work. Like I said, 15 years of doing all that, and now I'm kind of in that setting where I'm just like, you know what, this is nice. I get to have a wife, I get to have a life, I get to spend time with my kids. But like, it's just the burnout that's happening with a lot of athletic trainers. That's what's concerning me now is they're working, even as a high school athletic trainer. One time I can specifically remember, everybody talks about the fall. Oh my gosh, the fall, you're so busy. I'm like, I love the fall. There's literally football and there's volleyball going on. That's it. And maybe occasional cross country thing here and there. And even then, like, you got to have a pretty big campus to be hosting a cross country thing.
Sure.
But during spring, I'm like, I hate spring. You got baseball, softball, tennis. You've got soccer. You've got You got track. You've got all these sports going on. Not to mention, you're also gearing into towards the middle to end of spring. You're also gearing back into football. So I think at one time I had baseball. I had a baseball game, softball game, tennis match, and soccer match all going on at one time, and they weren't like real close together. They were kind of a
Right.
little bit off campus here and there.
Right.
So I literally was like, y'all call me. And it becomes one of those things that as athletic trainers, we care. We actually, that's why we went into this field. We care about athletes. We care about everybody that we come into contact with. So providing that coverage, the coverage over care kind of model is just not really what it is what it is sometimes.
Right.
But cover, yeah. So basically, you just become an athlete training coverage. So I didn't enjoy that at all. I hated it because especially I was like, I know it. I'll be over here watching softball and I'll be watching soccer. Nothing's going to go on. Something's going to happen at baseball, or worst case scenario, somebody has something at tennis and it's really far away. And luckily, that was the day that one of my favorite athletes got really bad hurt on baseball. So I was like, so it's somebody actually, one of the parents sent me the meme of the person on the gator taking off on the ramp. And they was like, that was you coming to coming to his rescue that day. I was like, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I was as soon as I found out who it was, I came running. So but yeah, so I don't even know where I gotta stop. I went off on a tangent.
No, you're good. You're good.
But no, yeah. So some of the yeah, this is a younger. This the traditional setting is a young man's game, young man slash young woman's game. I think that if I've seen a lot of things on the social medias where people are asking hey, I'm looking to go into college, and I'm like, you better do your research now, especially nowadays. Like, there is so much out there between just in Alabama. Like, we've got high school setting, college set, secondary school setting, college setting. We got the industrial occupational. You've got physician's practice. We've got all these things, and there's so much out there. Like, I tell people, it's like, find out what you want to do. Like, you want to go in athletic training, great, but you might want to do your research into what specific field you want to go into. If you want to go into secondary setting, awesome. I'll go ahead and tell you the 7A, 6A high school for Alabama, it's not the same as that 2A, 3 high school. It's you're gonna have some struggles. You're gonna go through some. You're not going to have a game ready. You're not going to have a Normatech with you that 2A and 3A school. You're lucky to have tape and pre-wrap,
Sure.
and just the basics. So I was like, be sure you know what you're getting yourself into, and just get involved. Get yourself in there. Find out everything. Like before you start just kind of jumping into it, you're saying like, "Hey, it is glamorous. High college is very glamorous, but it is also a lot of hard work, a lot of time commitments." Because I learned from being in the college setting, you're 24/7, 365. Anytime somebody calls you, you're on the hook. You've gotta react. Secondary school setting, you can kind of be a little bit more like, hey, it's 8 o'clock at night. Turn off the phone. And then
Yep.
in my setting, I leave my phone on, and sometimes if somebody texts me, will answer it if I'm not super busy. But I think I've had maybe two of those phone calls in 3 years of of being called like off the clock. So I have no. It's a little bit. Yeah, so it's just the settings. You got to find out what setting you want to be in, and there's so many you can, and these young kids nowadays, they can get in there and find out what they can talk to everybody. I mean, everybody's worked in numerous things, so get in there and find out what are you looking for in a job in your profession, and then find out, and then let it go from there.
Yeah, I echo all of that. I don't regret any of the time I spent in, the Division 1 setting. Um, and I was a cross country track and field AT. That was kind of where I had found my niche. But just looking back on it, like you're gone like every weekend because there's always a meet. You're always traveling. Um, and at the
Yeah,
time, it worked because I didn't have any responsibilities other than a dog that slept 20 of the 24 hours of the day. So he was pretty content. Um, but yeah, I think it's good to really experience it if you think so. But then, yeah, going back, nothing in my athletic training career had just turned out the way I thought I had planned that it would. I thought I was big Division 1 football. I haven't been around Division 1 football since undergrad. Never thought about working Division 3. Was there for 7 years and loved it. Now doing stuff in the clinic and working with firefighters and doing some of that stuff, hosting podcasts, trying to dabble in research. You just never know where it's going to take you, and things change, and that's totally fine.
yeah, the same. I was pretty content with being a high school athletic trainer, secondary school athletic trainer. I just wanted to, I was like, this is it. This is like I'll hang out with these high school kids and do the therapy and the rehab and because I mean I remember my time as a high school athlete, and we didn't have an athletic trainer. We had somebody who would show up maybe twice a week, if that. So to be able to be at a school full time, I was like, man, this is a really great experience for these kids. I can help out, but then life happens. You get married, you start having kids, and you're like, you know what? Kind of want to. I don't want to be watching other people's kids play sports when my kids playing sports. So you kind of start making some other transitions, and you find other ways, like with you with this athletic training podcast. I think you find other ways to fulfill your passion. And
Yep.
the good thing is PRN work is a plethora, and it's always going to be there. And for me, getting involved with the Alabama Athletic Trainers Association, that's where I kind of started getting my passion going, and wanted to get involved. And there was an open seat at the table. I took it, and now now it's grown into something that I'm super proud to be a part of, and super happy to help be one of the building pieces to what we're doing in our state.
So that was a question we were going to get to, but as you brought it up, let's dive into it. So, you mentioned kind of, being a part of, building stuff in the state, what truly, if you can kind of go back and think, service and, the NATA, there's always hot discussion around everything. And I didn't know anything about our state association. I think I went to like one meeting as a student and had never gone because it just didn't work out for me with the collegiate setting. But then was able to start going and got involved with the state, and quickly realized how much impact you can have at that level with the work that's going on. But what brought you to it, and wanting to jump in, if when the switch kind of flipped for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it was just one of those things that I'm so passionate about our profession, and I'm a fixer. I like to fix things. And my wife hates it sometimes when she just wants to she just wants to complain to me. I'm like, well, let's try this. But no, me as a fixer, like I want to make things better. I feel like in our state and as a whole, our profession can be so much better regarded, better treated, better paid, better represented. So I wanted to, it's one of those things that I was like, day one, the first ever Alta meeting I ever went to. I'll never forget it. It was amazing. And I was like, man, this is awesome. I want to get involved with this. And then they were like, well, you have to be an athletic trainer in the state for a year. And I was like, well, I'm on like month 8. And I was like, okay, well, maybe next year we have something open for you. I was like, sounds awesome. Well, then I left and came back. But anyway, so as soon as I came back and a position opened up, I was like, I don't care what it is. Get me. Or actually, for the first 2 years, I actually I served on the secondary schools committee. I was just an athletic trainer who sat on the secondary schools committee and gave feedback to our at-large two position who was over the secondary schools committee. We basically gave feedback, gave him whatever he needed. Most of the time it was getting everybody updated into Atlas and getting. We actually had a statewide secondary school athletic trainer call list where we had everybody's name, whatever school they were at, name, contact list for all that information. So we were able to get that together. And then I just like, seats open at the table. And I'm one of those people, I'm open for anything. I try not to say no to anything unless it's just absolutely against my morals, beliefs, or anything else
Sure.
that just feels bad in my gut. So like, you know what, let's try this. Like whatever. Like it's a treasure position. It was the treasure position. I was like, I'm not really that good at money. I was like, I'm not Dave Ramsey. But let's just jump in and see where it goes. And so ever since then, I've served as 4 years as treasurer. I'm wrapping up my treasurer tenure, and then it started coming up time for that to open up, and we had a president-elect position open up, and I said, well, we're already set everywhere else. Let me try my hand at that. I never thought I would see myself as a president of anything other than the sports medicine club, which my biggest uh, my biggest feat at the sports medicine club in college was I got us some gear. I got us a deal with Adidas to get us some gear.
Important,
That was it.
important.
Hey,
Yeah,
to me, I was like, I'll hang my hat on that and help out with that, but
yeah.
that was about it. So I was like, yeah, and then and it was me and our vice president. She is great too. I was like, we she talked to me after before she decided to run, and she's like, are you okay with this? I know you've had your heart set on it. I was like, I was like, we're in a good position no matter who wins. I was like, I don't care. If you win, I know Alta's in a great place. If I win, Alta's going to be in a great place, and we're going to be fine. And luckily for me, she actually, when she won the president elect, she's like, I don't want to be, she's like, this president elect is going to take over a lot. So she's like, I'm going to step down as vice president. And then our president was like, do you want to run for vice president? I was like, I'd love to. I want to stay involved. I want to make a change in our state. We've got a lot of great momentum going with our state association. And I'd hate for any of it to waver and roll back down the hill. So let's keep this going. So now I take over as vice president as of this week. So I'm excited and pumped to see where this new chapter of my serving the state association goes.
And just out of curiosity, we've talked to other people in other state things. What are you guys working on as much as you can share in the state of Alabama as it
Yeah.
comes to the association?
So right now we've got a lot of things geared up. I will say we did get a state grant fund from the state that is starts starts this year that retroacts to last year, where it's a grant where if you are an athletic trainer that is the 1A through 3A high schools, you can get grant money to you. So you get money for being the athletic trainer at a small school. So yeah, I think
Okay.
it's an extra $2,700. Now, don't hold me to that, but you actually get, and it goes straight to you. It doesn't go to like we're like Alabama. Majority of our athletic trainers are physical therapy clinic based. They're outreach that way. So like
Sure.
your company doesn't get that money. It goes straight to you.
Hmm.
So we've got that going started this year, and it's really been great. Um, we're getting very much involved with the doing a lot of hold on, stop for a second. I gotta think. We're doing a lot of things to try to get ourselves more involved in the state level with inside the government. So trying to get laws passed for let me think. It's the cardiac. It's a lot of cardiac care. They're
Sure.
passing
Sure.
a law which we've been heavily involved. We actually in the past shoot, this was 21, yeah, in 2021, we were able to update our Practice Act. It hadn't been updated since the beginning of athletic training in the state of I think it was '93 was the
Okay.
last time it was even updated. So now we're updated, and with that update, we are actually athletic trainers are allowed to dry needle. We're allowed to administer over the counter medicine, and then we're also allowed. Shoot, there was like three things. Anyways, we can do dry needling and we can do over the counter medicines now with this update to our Practice Act. That's been huge in kind of helping push our profession into the now 21st century. I actually was one of the first people. I was one of the second group of people ever to become, or second groups of people to ever become dry needling certified in our state.
Nice.
As soon as we got it passed, Troy University they got a class together, and they paid for their athletic trainers to get dry needling certified. And then a part of a big grant that we got from the state through Alta, we were able to offer a 60% discount on a athletic training course for athletic trainers, and we had we had over I think we had about 22 athletic trainers, and then we had some visiting athletic trainers. We had athletic trainers from the Atlanta Braves and the Blue Jays. They came to get certified with us at that same play at the same setting. So, being dry needling certified, I can't do it in my profession, in my field yet, in my setting yet, but it's a great skill to have,
For
and it's
sure.
a great skill to get, and I highly recommend it. And it's very expensive, but it's very worth it in the end.
Absolutely. Um, just kind of circling back to all of your experiences, what is something that you found that, that you've tried to bring to each one, a characteristic or a trait, that's been beneficial for you across this vast array of things that you've done?
So yeah, starting off, I thought I knew everything. I was, fresh out of college. I was like, oh, I'm certified now. I'm, and you don't really know.
I
But I
also
think
learned that lesson quickly.
you learn it real quick, and you learn that just because you have the knowledge doesn't mean you should. It's like karate. Just because you have the skills of karate, don't mean you go around and Cobra Kai everybody. You just kind of you have that skill and you use it to benefit people. And I think learning empathy with your athletes, with everybody. I think that is such a huge character trait that everybody should have, both in your professional life and your personal life. Because I think if you can kind of help relate, or even just kind of, just be like, hey, I get it, I understand, or hey, I'm here with you. Like we are going to go through this. Especially with a lot of athletes that you have season-ending injuries with. You've got to say like, hey, we're together. Like you and me are going to be spending a lot of time together, and I want you to know I got your back. I'm not going to do anything that's going to make I'm not going to hold your reins too hard, but I'm also going to be holding your reins. So I think being an empathetic athletic trainer is one of the greatest things you can be. Is and that gains the trust of your patients, of your athletes, of um, whoever you come into contact with. That they see that that's a real thing that you possess, and it's going to make them gravitate to you a lot better than somebody who does just know everything. If you
Sure.
just act like you know everything and you just kind of give off that kind of vibe and that sense, people are just like, yeah, he's right, but he's kind of also a bit pompous and a bit too cocky for me. But also, if you can get off that cocky empathy vibe, I think that really turns a lot of people towards you.
Agree with that. Yeah, you never know what somebody's pain is or what they're going through or how it's impacting them versus how somebody else, because it'd be completely different. That'd be one of my two athletic training superpowers if I could feel what you're feeling to better understand how to go
Hmm.
through it. And not getting any younger when aches and pains start happening. I was like, oh, maybe this is what they were talking about when something just kind of hurt. They weren't injured. Like, nothing would pop up on a special test, but it just something didn't feel right. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I can understand that more now.
Yeah, and being in some of the schools and being in that, especially, I can talk about the secondary setting all day, but being in some of the schools that I was in, like, there's more going on than just an injury. There's, like, I literally, one of my the first last school I worked at, had an athlete. It was a very poor school, poor everything. But I was there and had a kid that was injured. Talking, did 1 2 days of rehab. Third day didn't show up. No call, no text, nothing. So I went to coach and said, "Hey, what's up? He's not here today." And he's like, "Well, he won't be here tomorrow either." I was like, "Oh, okay. Like, is he going to be playing? Is he wanting to play Friday night?" He's like, "Yeah, he wants to play Friday night." I'm like, "Well, I got to give him some rehab and some therapy." And then come to find out, he is basically on his own. His mom is, mom and dad aren't around as much, or not around at all. One of the parents wasn't around at all, or both parents weren't around at all. And to find out that he's basically working, going to school, and trying to play football, and was a very good athlete too. He's trying to do it all, and so after I knew that, I was like, all right, I gotta work a little harder. I know what he's got some other stuff going on. Let's try to do stuff. So I literally told him, I was like, when can you come in? Here's my number. Call me, text me. I'll be here. You just tell me when you can come by. If not, here's an exercise program. I need you to work on this. We need you to work on this because you can't come in all the time. Let's try to get you better so that we can get you back out on that field.
For
And
sure.
he was a very respectful young man and was like, "Yes, sir, I'll do this." Yeah, and he did it. And but yeah, knowing that there's other things going on, not, the school isn't your whole life, and neither is their outside life. Is just it's a lot of these kids, they don't have a lot to go home to. But if you can be that shining light to them in that time of, you know their life is not the best, if you can kind of help be like that help, you know be that kind of helpful parent, or be that parent that actually does truly love on them and wants what's best for them, then I think a lot of kids want that kind of boundary set, and um, they want that kind of loving on them.
Yep. In those situations, understand they got a whole lot more going on. Like we're paid to help them get back for the athletics realm, on paper and everything, and that's our focus, but not forgetting that there might be a whole other level of stressor that
Hmm.
all of a sudden the athletics isn't the most important thing in their life at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, we've covered a lot in terms of just the different experiences and just, things that you brought across. Anything that we haven't covered that you wanted to touch on before we jump into those AT chat questions?
No, I'll just say, just for everybody watching, or for listening, watching, get involved. If you don't like the way things are going, you can't make a change from the outside. You're not gonna. You can complain, you can gripe, you can do all those negative things, but until you actually serve, until you're able to willing to put yourself above, until you're willing to put others above yourself and others' needs, serve. I don't know who all's going to be hearing this. Alabama, we'd love to have you. love to have you on a committee, love to have you serve, and bring your ideas to us like that. We are very open to, and like I said, our president, he's a very intelligent man, very smart man, probably way too smart to be even conversing with me. But we're open to, we're open to ideas. We're open to hearing everything. There may be a reason why we can or cannot do things. And heck, I've even learned that. I've come up with ideas, and there's reasons why we can and can't do things. But don't be afraid to ask your local state association questions. We're here for you. If it's anything like, if everybody else is state associations and they're, your state association is there to protect you from the public, and then your licensing board is there to protect your patients from you. So we're here for you guys. We want to hear your feedback. We want to know what can we do to help better serve you guys. And it could be something as simple as like whenever we did our past conference, they're like, hey, the breakfast kind of sucked and we'd like to have some proteins and not just biscuits and gravy. Okay, good. That's something that we want people to keep coming back to our conferences. We know we got to step it up here. We got, be and get involved in that kind of standpoint, because your state associations are going to be the ones that's going to reach you at probably your lowest level, at the lowest level of your area. So there's the great starts. You start there, let them know what we can do to help serve you guys better. We're going to do the best we can to make sure we take care of you guys and make sure that all the athletic trainers in our state are happy. And if we can do that, like, that's our goal. We're here to serve.
Yeah, I'd echo everything. Just start at the state, as much as you can. I think that for me, I was like, oh, we got to try and go big, and then realizing, and now I've moved from Wisconsin, where I was, to Minnesota, and life's a little busy. So we're gonna start out probably again, look at a committee. Can I start there and then kind of work my way up? Again, just to help out. But yeah, I would echo everything you said. The state, you can have such an impact, and they're almost always look. I haven't met a state association that isn't looking for people that want to be motivated to do stuff.
Yeah,
Well, the chat questions. Where do you see the profession going in the next 5 to 10 years?
man, who knows?
Right.
No, I would love to see, I would love to see the decrease in athletic trainers increase, from whatever kind of standpoint. I understand, in the secondary school setting, especially here in Alabama, there's such a there's such a there's such a want for them. There's such a need for them, but yet then again, the model that is set up has not been very conducive for athletic trainers. So I would love to see the profession grow even more, and hopefully, with some of the things that we can do from our standpoint, we can help grow it from, you know, like I said, we started the grant where you can get money if you're and even then we encourage people even past that requirement to apply for it, because that's how that's how it worked. Is That's how I've seen things work. You get these grant funds. If you spend it, that you have the backing to say, hey, we spent all this money. Can we have some more? Can we expand it even more? And usually the state, if they've got the funding, which they usually do, they'll say, yeah, we'll grant you some more money. We'll expand it a little bit more. But if we don't have anybody ask for it, if we don't have anybody apply for these things, it's like I've even I'm even the awards and scholarship chair for our state association. So if nobody signs up for an award, how can I recognize the great work of athletic trainers in our state? Or if nobody signs up, if none of these, college athletic trainer or these quote unquote students in athletic training don't apply for scholarship, and there's all this money sitting here, and I don't spend it, then my state association is going to go, well, you only gave away $2,000 in scholarships, opposed to, I think this year we gave away $18,000 in scholarships
Wow, that's
this
awesome.
year, and we're actually looking to increase that to almost $25,000 this year in
That's
scholarships.
incredible.
And we also do we have and I'm also in charge of grants, so we give away $2,000 in grants to athletic trainers who fulfill. We have like a 1 year college. We have a 1 year that you've been licensed in our state for a year, and then more than 1 year, and then over 5 to 10 years. So you can get a grant for If you want to buy, I'm not putting this out as an ad, but if you want to buy some Firefly, or if you want to buy Normatec, or if you want to buy
Right.
any of these products that you think will be beneficial for your program, we've got the money and we want to give it to you. But if you don't apply for it or you don't try to get it, then we can't give it away. So and this year we gave away all $2,000 of our grant money. So we're hoping that we can go back to our government and say like, hey, we gave away all this money. Can we get some more? We would love to be able to increase that even more. I don't know my budget officially yet, but like I said, we are looking to increase our funding, and I can't put more money in your pocket per se, but I can make sure that you guys are able to do your job in a way better fashion. So in 5 to 10 years, I would love to see our profession be even bigger and better. From a state association, I want us to. I mean, we've grown as much as we can. Like we've gotten so big. Um, I would love to see us be even more like it's all financially. It's all we're all the money makes the world go round for
Yep.
us. So I would love to see athletic trainers making, you know 60 plus, coming out of college. I would love to see that. I would love to see no. I would love to see an athletic trainer in every high school in the state of Alabama, not
Nope.
just one that covers 3 schools. I'd love to see one in every high
Sure.
school, no matter what. And for that to happen, some kind of funding has to happen. And like I said, from a state association standpoint, we're doing our best to try to give those options to our patients.
What advice would you go back and give yourself as a young athletic trainer? And if you could kind of set when that would be.
Oh man, I don't know. I'd probably buy stock in Apple.
Yeah,
Uh,
right. Yeah.
come up with
Invest
this
in
thing called
Bitcoin when it was $8.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely Bitcoin. I would have been like, but even then, I could have probably invested in Bitcoin. I was that old. No, as a young athletic trainer, kind of the same things I harp now. Get involved. Don't just sit idly by. Don't be one of those. Don't let some of these grumpy athletic trainers around you affect you. If you want to be you're going to have to be that positive light. You've got to be the person who's going to you know, I want to do it. I'll do it. It may put a little bit more on you, but you're going to get so much more out of it than what you put. You're going to get as much as you put into it as you get out of it. But even then, most of the time, you get more out of it because you're doing things for the betterment of our profession. And I think that's you know the young athletic trainers, they get so sometimes a lot of times you're drinking from the fire hose, you're drinking from the fire hydrant, you're just getting blasted. And I get it, you're just trying to keep your head above water, but getting involved and just always making sure that you know your worth. I think that's one thing too, is know your worth. Um, do the like we as a state association, we actually did our own salary survey. We collected data from athletic trainers all over the state. That way, instead of using the NATA model, which is good, I'm not going to knock the NATA at all, but the NATA model, I mean, you've got some doctorate level teachers on there that are making 6 figures plus, but then
Got
you've also got
limitations. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of limitations, but whenever we do it from a state association standpoint, that kind of brings it back down into a marginal thing, which we've kind of found out some of the same data that we were collecting is the same as NATA. What we were able to get kind of micromanage it down or micro down into our state
Yep.
and find out exactly what's best for our state, especially. So um, I think just knowing your worth, you're worth more than what you're already getting paid. And as long as you know that and realize that, and it's all up to the younger athletic trainers. You guys have to be the pushers. I'm 15 years in the field, eh, and I fought for getting to where I am now. I've had to make those transitions. I've had to make those hard choices of leaving a school that I loved or leaving a setting that I loved to go do all this. If you want what I have and stay in the setting, you've got to fight for yourself and continue to fight for it. And there's been athletic trainers I know that did fight for themselves, and I'm like, gosh, I wish I would have done that. I wish I'd have fought for myself a little bit harder.
Sure.
So I think fighting for yourself, knowing your worth. I mean, nowadays you're a master's. You have a master's coming out of college, and even for our state, you know, here's what I tell them. It's like they need you more than you need them. Yes, you need a job. You can there's jobs out there, but they need you to fulfill their because a lot of these places they have a contract with the school and they've got to fulfill it, or
Yep.
else it's going to go to another company.
Yep.
So they need you more than you need them. So as long as you realize that, and you say like, "Hey, here's my number," boom, I'm not going past it. I'm not going below that. Then they will. If you gotta kind of command that respect and command that kind of just kind of air about yourself. Like, hey, I know what I'm worth. I'm worth this. You're either going to pay me, or else I'll go find someone. I'll go find a job elsewhere. So it's a lot easier said than done. Saying somebody who's been 15 years in a job and
Right. Right.
has a very cushy job, but I mean, I'm doing what I can to fight for you guys, and I need the young athletic trainers to do what they can and fight for themselves as well.
Absolutely. What has been the most influential resource you found in your career?
Experience and mentorships. Experience have get you a mentor, get you somebody that an older athletic trainer who, and it doesn't have to be somebody older than you. It can be somebody who's I mean, I'm starting to get to that age where I'm getting that guy. I'm being that guy. I'm actually getting a intern in the summer, and I'm very like, am I sure I'm the right guy? But no, but finding somebody that you can, finding a mentor and finding somebody that you can talk to. Like, hey, you've been on the job for X amount of years. How did and I'm pretty sure that athletic trainer, like the athletic trainer who I consider a mentor, I've got two of them. He's one mentor. He's actually our president. I call him about things. I've called him about things, and then another mentor of mine. He's actually he sits on our committee. He sits on our association as well, and he's been there for everything. I've called him about, hey, did you ever handle a situation like this? Lord, yes, I remember handling this back in, and how did you handle it? What should I do about it? And he was there to guide me through a lot of situations that I went through. And I think mentorships and even then through that you're going to find out experience. That's why I say don't ever say no to an opportunity. And you just always be able to willing to serve, always be willing to just kind of say yes. Let me get this experience under my belt. If you liked it, awesome. Maybe that'll get, like I said, with the treasurer position. I took it saying, hey, I want to get involved. I'd like to get involved and see where it goes. And now I'm super passionate about making things better for our state athletic trainers. You just kind of say yes, and then if it like it, and you find out that's kind of you may grow into being a passion for you. If not, then continue. Find hey, I'm gonna back away from this. I'm not gonna really do that anymore. I'm gonna try my hand at this now. Go for it. Find your passion. Get that experience in there, and then you're gonna find different ways to fulfill your life.
I like it. As an AT in your role, how do you take care of yourself?
Oh man, luckily for me, I've got a phenomenal home life. My wife is just an absolute rock star. So being able to come home to her and see her and my now I got a 3 year old and just got she turned 11 weeks yesterday.
Ooh.
So where I get to kind of refill my thing is spending time with my family. That is hands down. I mean, that's why I took the position in the setting that I'm at now. It's because I wanted to spend more time with my family. I wanted to be a great husband. I wanted to be a great father. And with that now, I'm able to do that. So I find my fulfillment being back with my family, finding my why with them and doing things with them. I love video games. I'm almost 40 years old, but I will still gladly pop on the PS5 and and play some
Nice.
college football or whatever game that I'm into at that time. I absolutely love. I've always been a video game nerd a little bit, so playing some video games and even then just kind of just I don't know. I'm one of those people like we do so much in our field. We have to do so much thinking, and we have our brains turned on, and it's like it's like we're an actor in a Broadway musical 24/7. we always are on. We're always on. So anytime where I can just sit and just kind of go and turn off my brain and just watch some TV and just kind of get involved in something like that. Like I said, it's like you've always got the spotlight on you. So anytime you can take that heat from that spotlight off of you, I enjoy it so much. I luckily for me, my job usually sometimes requires me to drive, 30, 45, even up to an hour, if not more, to some of my job sites. So being able to have that time to decompress and just kind of tune out, listen to a podcast, like the Athletic Training Chat podcast.
I appreciate the plug.
Plug.
Yeah,
Um,
checks in the
so
mail.
anytime that, yeah, yeah, hey, but no, no, it's anything you can do to just kind of unwind because, like I said, like, you get like I said, it's like you're a Broadway musical actor, and it's not like you're doing it for 3 or 4 hours a day. You're doing it, for 8 to 10 hours a day, if not more sometimes, because football games. So you're constantly having to be on. You're constantly having to be this bigger version of yourself and be this more. You have to be this character. You almost have to be like a character. And
Right.
anytime where you can just kind of go, okay, I get to be, I'm an extrovert. I'm an introverted extrovert. So outside of here, I love talking to people. I love it. But once that social battery drains, I'm like, I'm about to go to my office. I'm going to turn on my PlayStation, or I'm going to go and watch something on Hulu or Disney that's not Mickey Mouse Club or Spidey and Friends, or Moana, anything else other than that. And even then, I'll watch Bluey all day. But anytime I can just kind of sit down and just kind of breathe and just kind of shut my brain off and just kind of not have to be that performer, um, it's that's how I just can kind of relax a little bit, just kind of not doing anything.
For sure. If you could change or eliminate one thing, could be a modality, common practice, mindset, whatever of your choosing in the field of athletic training, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, modality ice.
There.
I mean,
Yep.
that's a kind of our go-to, but I feel like there's a time and a place for ice, but
Yep.
it's become the catch-all. It's become the just ice it when really and truly some exercises or some kind of movement stuff actually does way better. The studies are there. It's actually becoming a practice of not icing everything. Um, uh, I think ice is just the worst modality ever. Ultrasound, I've never been 100% sold on ultrasound. Yes, it heats, but that's about it. But I've seen some physical therapists who performed ultrasound, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like you that's not doing anything. You do moving that fast, it's not doing anything. Let's slow it down a little bit. Um, and a mindset is that this is your life. Your life
Yeah,
revolves
I
around
like
your
that
job.
one. Yep.
Um, you're so much more than your job. You matter to way more. You mean way too much to way too many more people. You are more than just an athletic trainer. For me, I'm a child of God. I identify as first and foremost. Jesus Christ was my He's my Lord and Savior. I identify as that first and foremost, and then I am a husband second. I'm a father third, and then I'm also a son. I'm also I'm a brother. You're a friend. So having that work life balance, you've got to. It's okay to take that. It's okay to take that time off. It's okay to say no. It's okay to you know it's okay to have that was the trainer guilt, as they call it, whenever you take off and your mind is still at the school even though you're off there. Have no guilt. Like you've got to you know things are going to happen whether you're there. Bad things will happen whether you're there or not.
Sure.
You can only control the things you can control. So if you if you keep identifying yourself or keep defining yourself as just an athletic trainer, then that's what it's going to be, and you're not going to have a life. So don't take that day off, take that mental day off. And as I've told people before, like whenever you take a day off, you're not telling your boss, hey, can I take a day off? You're letting them know, hey, I'm taking this day off.
Right.
And it's your job to find somebody to cover for me because I need a mental day. I need to go take care of my own physical health because I'm sick. I need to, I've been my nose and my head has been stopped up for the past 4 weeks, you know, and that's just another personal life. I didn't I I think I got sick last summer. It was right after our conference last summer. I got sick. I just like, oh, I'll be okay. And it's Alabama summer. It was a little hot, and I almost passed out on the job site. And I just had been feeling like poop for like 2 months. And I was like, you know what? I told one of my foremen, I was like, hey, I'm going to go. I was like, I haven't been feeling too good. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, get out of here. So I went and took care of myself. Sure enough, I had a respiratory infection and a sinus infection all in one. So they was like, yeah, you were sick. And I was like, oh, wow. So, and then this past year, right after or just this past year, I got COVID and I went so many years without getting it. So I was like, hey, I gotta take off. Like and I felt no guilt whatsoever. Like you gotta take care of yourself. So that mindset of you are an athletic trainer. You're so much more than an athletic trainer.
And then last question, what does being an athletic trainer mean to you?
It's a job. And I kind of goes back to what I said.
Yep.
It's being an athletic trainer is your job, it's your profession. You should take pride in it. You should do the best job you can, but don't let it define you. It's not who you are. An athletic trainer is a great job. It's a great profession. I absolutely love it. Been wanting to be an or was wanting to be an athletic trainer since my junior year in high school, back in 2001. Oh, I think my knees just hurt real bad when I said that. But I think I love the job. I love the profession. But that was one thing that I had to learn is it is a job. It's a profession. And there's other ways. Like I said, there's like I always harp on that. There's other ways to fulfill your life.
Yep.
It's not just this job. So finding your work life balance. There's another term for it that my if our president of Alta hears it, he'll be like, no, it's not work life balance. It's this. So finding that work life balance, um, no matter what, like just take the days off. Do like I said, it's just a job because if you died today, your position will be filled in less than a week. So make sure you take care of yourself, you take care of your family, you take care of the people around you, and that job will be okay. That job will be just fine. All the schools that I've left, they've been just fine without me. So they miss me. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of, man. We miss you. We want you to come back. And I've told them, I said, it's going to cost y'all. And it's like, how much? I'm like, at least $95,000 a year. Like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, well, it's that's how valuable my time is now. So time equals money, and sometimes there's not enough money for my time. So
Right.
I think being an athletic trainer, just it's my job, it's my profession, but it's it's my passion. I love it. Love the job. Wouldn't choose to do another job ever. But yeah, it's just a job. It's my job. It's my profession. I love it. But I wouldn't. Don't let it define me.
Awesome. I like that one. I think it's the first time we've had that, so even better. Just lastly, if people wanted to connect with you, find you, follow you, what's the best place to do that?
Yeah, if you do find me on any social medias, I'm at Heath Blackmon 63. That was my old football number. Instagram, I'm at underscore Heath 633. And then Facebook, I am Heath Blackmon on there. So if you guys want to connect with me, cool. Follow me. I'm usually only posting things about the state association. I just try to use that and every once in a while I might post a cute picture of a baby or a 3-year old that's terrorizing me.
Yeah.
So that's that's about it. So, but yeah, I'd love to hear from anybody who hears this and just reach out to me. And if you'd like to talk to me more about anything, or if you agree, disagree with anything, let me know. And I'd love to have a conversation with you about it.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. It was great to connect. Just a lot of head nodding from my end that people can't hear, obviously, but I've seen a lot of parallels in my career. So appreciate it, and we'll catch up with you sometime soon.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Athletic Training Chat with Heath Blackmon. We really hope you enjoyed it. Got some insight, maybe some reflection on what you maybe want to do when it comes to your career and how that can change based on circumstances. And also just, again, encouraging to maybe check out some service, see what you think. If you like it, start on a committee and then work your way from there. You never know where it might lead and what change you can make in it. As always, thank you to Mueller for their support and Healthy Roster for their support of the podcast. We truly appreciate everything they do for the profession and for us. Again, Clinically Fresh, check out courses. We got a ton of free CEUs on there with our partners at DT Corner and To the Bone podcasts, and also other ones with Midwest Concussion Clinic, and also wrestling with one of our good friends, Dr. Eric Tui. Check those out. A bunch of free ones that offer there, and other ones at a very affordable price. So check those out, and resources as well, which a ton of them for free if you just didn't have time to make them on your own. With that, we'll catch you next episode.